Gymnastics growing up was one of my favorite things to do. I loved to flip on the couch. I mean, I got to a point where my parents were like, all right, we got to get her to do something. So they put me in it when I was 4. And from then on, I did what I loved every single day. In level 5 is when I switched to a better club gym that was more suited for quality gymnastics, and I stayed there from level 5 all the way through my 3 years of level 10, and it was there that I met people that shaped my gymnastics and really helped fuel the fire of wanting to continue into college.
I started recruiting Kelly when she was a sophomore in high school. I met her at a University of Kentucky camp that I was coaching. They brought me in as a guest coach. And I remember working with Kelly and enjoying the process with her. She was very communicative. She always made eye contact. She asked questions when she wasn't sure. She had a really great bubbly personality. She was always fun to be around. She would cut up, make jokes, all that stuff. I will never forget, they had this it wasn't really like a fashion show, but basically all the campers were like showing off their best runway walk. Kelly was showing hers off in front of everybody, and then she finished it by clapping and then doing a death drop. And I remember thinking at that moment, I want that kid on my team.
Freshman year was okay. I started really great in the preseason, and then once Thanksgiving rolled around, I kept having this nagging pain in my foot, and I ended up having a stress reaction in my foot, and they said if I had gone any further, my bone probably would have broken and I would have had to get surgery. So at that point in time, it was best for me to step back and just heal a little bit, and at this point it's December and it's go time now for season. The first time I ever competed was at Bowling Green. It was my freshman year and we were all warming up. I was hitting all my handstands, I was hitting all my skills, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm ready to rock this routine. Scott came up to me and he said, are you ready? And I was like, absolutely. And they put me in, and that is the first time I ever hit my college bar routine in a lineup. And I was so excited and I felt so celebrated by my team, and they knew how much perseverance it took to go from having to sit out in December to competing later in March. Sophomore year, so we had just gone back from Utah State. I was limited to 2 passes a day, at least at this point in time, 2 passes. And I did 2 double backs. One of them I stepped out of bounds, and I said, Cass, I didn't like that one. Can I please do one more? As I was going through floor that entire day, my Achilles was kind of feeling weird, and it was just like a nagging ache that I was like, oh, this is normal. I've had this before. And so I am going for my double back, and as I punch going into the skill, I hear this loud pop. And I felt the instant roll into my calf, and I said, oh my gosh, my Achilles just went. That semester of college, I was dealing with a lot mentally. After I tore my Achilles, I had just had my intake appointment with a psychiatrist here at Ball State. And I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and OCD. I left that week with a lot more than a torn Achilles. I remember every single time I would have to come back from class, I would have to call one of my roommates, most of the time Hannah, and I would say, I need help coming up the stairs. Can you come help me?
Once she got the surgery, it kind of sunk in, and she was like, oh wow, this is a lot, this is really hard. But our apartment was kind of like delusional, silly energy for that whole week.
I was so defeated at the point of not being able to do gymnastics that I was sobbing in my bed, by myself. I didn't want anyone to know, and all I hear is this little faint knock at my door. And she's like, Kelly? I was like, yeah, I'm good, what's up? And she walks in, she goes, no, you're not. And she just held me as I cried, because all I wanted to do was gymnastics. I didn't realize how much I loved it until it was gone. Rehab was going pretty well. After surgery, I was making strides quicker than I thought I was going to. And that's an exciting thing when you're an athlete, because you're like, I can get back to my sport quicker. I started to walk on an underwater treadmill after a couple weeks or something like that, and I was like, this is awesome. I'm back on my own 2 feet, and I was so excited. I really had to lean on the little victories in this process, because even the small things were monumental. May 6th, our last day of school. I took like a bouncing step to go give them a hug, and in that step, I heard that same pop that I did the first time in the same roll to my calf.
It was rough for somebody that was like with her the whole time and seeing what it did to her, to know that she's just gonna have to go through that all over again. It was rough.
It was a Saturday. I was in Georgia for my brother's baseball tournament. One of his coaches was a pastor, and so he held a devotion after one of the games. He asked, do you plan on returning to sport? And I said, I actually just told my mom last night that I was thinking about being done. And he said, I know I don't know you, but God told me to come over here and tell you that sometimes he makes us go through things twice in order for us to change the way we were going to pursue it. And right then and there, I knew that I needed to be done. In that transitional period of switching from gymnastics to a new role, I didn't realize how much of my identity was in this sport. I was met with only support. No one questioning why I made this decision. They all knew that this was what was best for me. And so then later, I made a post to Instagram kind of explaining to people what had happened and where I was going to be next. After my first Achilles tear, I was being flooded with text messages of support and condolences. And I got one from Zoe Conway, and she texted me, no rain, no flowers. And so I would update her with every milestone and every exciting thing, or even if things were hard, she was there to listen.
Just any way that I could have helped her in that moment was what I was looking to do, whether that's words of encouragement or physically helping her or anything like that. You know, the difficulty of, first of all, just being in college, and then with that, the student athlete portion of that is just like, you cannot know what the highs feel like unless you hit the lows.
Junior year was the first year of being a manager, and it was hard. I so desperately wanted to be the ones on the bars or on floor. So I would come in every day, same time as everyone else, for the same amount of practice time as everyone else, doing whatever they needed me to do, whether that was clean up mats or slide their mat under a release move or grab a box of chalk. Whatever they needed, I was there. One of my goals in life is to just help people. And by doing this, I knew that that was something I could do. But that first year was so hard.
She's literally Superwoman. It's so awesome to have her in here, honestly. Like, we couldn't do what we do without her. There was no regret, but there was grief and there was pain being so close to it still and knowing that it was taken away from her. When we were in Missouri last year, it was like end of season, getting rough, body's hurting, life's hurting. And I went up to Kelly and I was like, this feels like a chore. I'm really dragging right now. And she was like, I would kill to be wearing that Leo right now. You do it for me. And I was like, I'm like tearing up thinking about it, but it's true. Like, that put everything in perspective for me. I was like, you're damn straight. I'm going to do this for you. And then I ended up tying the all-around record at that meet. So
I keep coming back for the people. These girls are my why. If they weren't here, there's no way that I would wake up at 7 in the morning to come into a smelly gym and get sweaty myself to move their mats. If it weren't for these girls and these people and their dedication and commitment and their friendship, without them I wouldn't be here. This year, those girls have really made me find the love for the sport again when I thought I lost it. People don't realize how impactful words are, and so that's why I always try to express my gratitude for people. You're more than just an athlete. You're a person behind all of that. You have to help the person first before you can help the athlete.